I'm Dean Human, Chair of the Board of Directors, and this is my dog Ginger. On behalf of the other board members and myself, I am pleased to present the 2012 Annual Report. It has been an excellent year at the Edmonton Humane Society. Many wonderful things have been accomplished, and we have never been more stable financially. This is in no small part to our incredible donors, our wonderful volunteers, and our dedicated staff. We appreciate them greatly. Without them, this would not be possible. There are many challenges in the animal welfare world, and now we are trying to address things like a very extensive cat population. We know this can be handled, and we are working towards it. Again, 2012 was a wonderful year, and we thank you for your support.
Hi, I'm Stephanie McDonald, the CEO at the Edmonton Humane Society, and this is Jada, who's waiting for her forever home. 2012 really was a year of proud achievements. Over the next 20 minutes, you will see firsthand how it truly does take a village to do what we do, an EHS village, if you will. Our shelter programs and services truly touch all of us. I invite you to sit back, relax, and enjoy the video that follows. It will do a great job of showing you all the life-saving, amazing work that is accomplished here at the EHS each and every day. We could not have achieved any of this without the EHS Village, our generous supporters, amazing volunteers, dedicated staff members, and committed partners. Without you, there would be far fewer achievements to celebrate. Your continued support and dedications inspires and humbles us, and it never ceases to affirm that the common goals for which we strive are indeed achievable.
Our admission and adoption numbers held steady in 2012 once again, with nearly 13,000 animals admitted, and we found homes for almost 7,700 companion animals with our hard work and dedication. Just like in 2011, close to 2/3 of all animals in our care were felines, and about 90% of the cats who came to us were strays. In 2012, innovative and successful adoption incentives were crucial in order to tackle serious situations involving homeless cats in the community. We held 7 adoption incentive events focusing on felines, either waiving the adoption fees altogether or reducing the fees. During all of our feline events alone, more than 1,000 cats or kittens were adopted. That's about half of the felines adopted in all of the year. They would have otherwise waited in our shelter for months longer before finding a home. In the past 3 years since launching these events, about 2,500 families have been completed with felines from our shelter. 2012 saw the launch of a new program to try and tackle the pet overpopulation problem in our community. The Prevent Another Litter Subsidy Program, also known as PALS, enables low-income families and individuals to have their cats or dogs spayed or neutered by simply paying a nominal administration fee. Their pets are brought to our shelter for the surgery during designated clinic dates. The first PALS clinic was held on June 7th, and by the end of 2012, 380 cats and dogs were spayed or neutered, vaccinated, and microchipped during 23 clinics. Plans for the future include the implementation of outreach programs in the community that support responsible pet ownership and further reduce pet overpopulation. Our highly skilled medical staff members strategically and successfully provided optimum veterinary care for the large number of animals admitted to our shelter. Disease management protocols and specialized surgeries were paramount in this success. More of a variety of surgical procedures were completed in 2012 on homeless animals with fractured limbs, ulcerated eyes, problems with their digestive systems, just to name a few. The wide variety of surgeries performed in our shelter have also provided excellent mentorship opportunities for internationally trained veterinarians who are enhancing their skills prior to becoming licensed to practice in Alberta. The mentorship program is just another way that the EHS contributes back into the community by supporting these veterinary professionals as they seek to secure meaningful employment in our province. Our Sick and Injured Animal Fund was utilized often in 2012 to cover the costs of several specialized medical procedures, as well as to purchase medication, lab disease test kits, and other surgical equipment. Our hugely successful Pennies for Pets campaign that you'll hear more about in a few minutes raised approximately $25,000 for the fund this year. Other generous donations to the fund brought in an additional $38,000 throughout the year. This year, our behavior department continued to enhance the way we enrich the lives of our shelter dogs and cats during their stay with us. Our behavior specialists developed new and innovative enrichment activities for cats, such as scratch carpets for kennels, treat-based activities, and exercise programs. This makes feline stay in our shelter more comfortable, since many are with us for a few months before finding their forever homes.
So who is running the playgroup right now?
A visit in September from world-renowned dog behavior expert Amy Sadler helped us improve our dog shelter playgroup program, which is essential to guide the dogs through learning proper play and socialization before adoption. Our specialists also launched a new behavior modification program with dogs who have problem issues such as mild resource guarding and aggression triggered by fear. Follow-up checks with new owners show that most dogs who went through this program are doing great in their new homes. The EHS continues to have the most amazing volunteers around, with about 600 people contributing their time to our animals and our shelter. From dog walking to cat and critter cuddling, to assisting with special events and administrative duties, our dedicated volunteers help our staff members make the animals' temporary stay here as comfortable as possible. Our volunteer foster parents also continue to make a huge life-saving difference this year, opening up their homes and their hearts for more than 1,300 animals that required special need care before being placed up for adoption. A new volunteer advisory board was established this year to promote a positive relationship between staff and volunteers, enhancing our already excellent animal care. The volunteer members of the advisory board provide a bilateral channel of communication between the volunteers and EHS staff members. Our 3 animal protection officers created and investigated almost 1,200 new files in 2012. However, 2 cases in particular drew high-profile public attention. For more than 2 months in the summer, our officers visited a house in West Edmonton every day as part of the worst case of animal hoarding our officers have seen in years. They continuously removed timid cats from inside whenever they could catch them and left food and water for others between visits. Conditions inside were so horrible, our officers needed hazmat suits and masks. In total, 175 felines were removed, and sadly, most were beyond our capability to help and required euthanasia due to severe medical or behavioral concerns. No charges were laid. The owner passed away. The so-called Rabbit House case wrapped up this year with a court conviction that could set a precedent for future cases. After pleading guilty, Shelley Zenner was ordered lifetime prohibition from animal ownership with the exception of 1 spayed or neutered dog or cat, and fined $8,500 for causing hundreds of rabbits to live in distress. Our officers had removed approximately 1,100 rabbits from Zenner's home in 2011, and about half of them were so sick that they were euthanized. This case took a major emotional toll on our staff members and volunteers who had contact with the rabbits when they came into our care. Our society is known for connecting with partnering organizations, and those connections were vital once again in 2012 to make a difference in the lives of companion animals in our community. We enhanced our partnership with the City of Edmonton's Animal Care and Control Centre by working together to educate the public about the misconceptions surrounding breed-specific legislation. Our awareness campaign helped to convince members of City Council to remove the legislation from Edmonton's animal control bylaw. This enabled owners of dogs, known as pit bulls, to allow their pets to finally become unrestricted members of the community. We also continued to work with Animal Care and Control by transferring their unclaimed stray animals from their facility on our campus to our building and then finding the pets' homes. Animal transfers are the most common result of partnerships, as we regularly take in dogs from other groups that are having trouble managing a large number in their care. One example is when we took in 19 adorable dogs and puppies all at once in May from the Humane Animal Rescue Team, a nearby rescue group also known as HEART. The homeless dogs were spayed or neutered in our shelter animal hospital and then placed into loving homes. Transfers from other organizations involved other species that we had room for, such as chinchillas and rodents. A partnership with Paradise Pet Centre in St. Albert helped us to find homes for small animals. This family-run business adopts out homeless cats, dogs, rabbits, and rodents on behalf of us and some rescue groups instead of selling these kinds of pets for profit themselves. This year, 87 of our shelter's small animals like guinea pigs and rabbits were adopted off-site at Paradise Pet Center. In 2012, our innovative shelter continued to be a model for others across North America and also as far as Australia. Representatives from counterpart organizations regularly visited, wanting to learn from our progressive operations, like our cat events, and also looking for ideas to build a new shelter in their areas. And other community partnerships often involve well-known individuals, like Laureen Harper, Canada's First Lady, who in October chose our shelter to tour in her effort to spread her national message about the importance of adopting homeless pets from animal shelters. She also spent extra time in our shelter to visit some of the homeless cats, like Joey that you see with her here. Or when Team Kevin Martin, Olympic gold medalists and world curling champions, teamed up with Pedigree Pet Foods, also to promote adopting shelter pets. Their visit in September was the launch of a national adoption awareness campaign. And when Edmonton Oilers stars Jordan Eberle, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, and Taylor Hall dropped by along with the TSN crew, shooting a story about falling in love with shelter dogs for Valentine's Day. It seems that whenever we draw a high-profile visitor for whatever reason, we work together to promote our animals, and our visitors always leave feeling quite impressed. A major accomplishment out of our communications department this year was an award-winning vehicle sticker awareness campaign which launched in May. We teamed up with Edmonton's Waterloo Ford Lincoln, who sponsored stickers for placement on driver's side windows that warned about the dangers of leaving pets alone in vehicles any time of the year. The campaign drew extensive media coverage which helped spread our message and also attracted countless veterinarian clinics and other animal-related businesses to help distribute several thousand stickers. The campaign won a national award in November, the 2012 Summit for Urban Animal Strategies Canadian Community Compliance Award, recognizing organizations for their efforts to increase the overall level of compliance in a community. How we connect with the community through social media expanded this year with huge gains in the number of our Facebook and Twitter followers. Hits on our YouTube videos also steadily increased since we produced 74 new videos for that channel, like our Week in Review stories, which feature behind-the-scenes events that happen in our shelter. And those YouTube videos don't include the numerous other videos produced as part of our monthly news magazine show, the EHS Podcast, the only one of its kind produced for and by an animal shelter. The show first started being produced back in February of 2011 for internet broadcast, but this year, Shaw Television Edmonton added it to its lineup, now running the show continuously several times a month on that station. Elevating beliefs and attitudes is a key focus of our Humane Education Department, and it continued to reach more members of our community in 2012, mainly because of the development of some new outreach programs. Tellington T-Touch classes started being offered to both Edmonton Humane Society volunteers and the general public. Volunteers learned how to perform the therapy on shelter animals to help reduce the stress of shelter life. Members of the public also learned how to do T-Touch on their own pets. Our humane educators also connected the Hinton SPCA with one of our T-Touch experts to help them implement a similar program for their shelter animals. The development of a Puppy Pen Pals literacy program is one of a kind. It provides school students with a physical and emotional connection to shelter animals. Personality profiles in the form of letters are presented to the students. They get to choose which dog that they'd like to write letters to. The children then spend several months corresponding with their chosen dog, who is part of the shelter's education team. The children eventually meet the dog in person at the shelter. Our educators have worked with counterparts in Grande Prairie, Calgary, and even as far away as Nepal to help implement a similar program in their areas. Our popular birthday parties for children, summer and winter break kids' day camps, Camp Sit, Stay, Play, and the Pet First Aid course for pet owners continued to be offered this year with consistent enrollment, all to enlighten adults and the adults of the future about responsible pet ownership and kindness to pets. Expansion is the story this year out of our Canine Enrichment Center, also known as the CEC, with the creation of 10 new group training classes. With these new classes also came the need to expand other pre-existing ones and providing some off-site. We started offering classes at 2 other organizations in St. Albert and Morinville, which enabled us to reach even more students and their dogs who may not have been able to make it to our location. The CEC also helped 174 pets and their owners through private training sessions. Several successful clinics and seminars were also held this year on various topics, including a 3-night leash aggression clinic focusing on behavior education, behavior modification, and proper leash walking techniques. Our specialists this year also continued helping people who weren't able to make it in person to get help with various pet behavior concerns. Our experts assisted 685 callers to our ever-popular behavior hotline. And our Canine Enrichment Center's Katrina and Friends Dog Daycare became a bit of a learning center. We created a daycare training program to help others who want to open their own dog daycare in their area. It is our hope that with more daycares in the community, more pet owners will have well-adjusted dogs and will be less likely to surrender them to animal shelters. We also enhanced operations of our own daycare in our shelter, including offering special exercise time with client dogs on a full-size commercial dog treadmill donated to us this year. Clearly, the daycare dogs enjoy this perk while spending weekdays with us. The community support for the EHS continues to leave us in awe. The generosity of individuals, families, small businesses, and corporations allows us to accomplish our life-saving work each year, and 2012 was no exception. Almost $3.2 million came from our generous donors this year, contributing 48% to our annual operating revenue. With the federal government announcing plans to phase out the penny from circulation at the beginning of 2013, we launched our Pennies for Pets campaign this year. People were encouraged to bring their pennies in as a donation to our Sick and Injured Animal Fund. Our goal was to raise $5,000 or 500,000 pennies. Generous donors crushed that goal, bringing us approximately 2.5 million pennies or about $25,000. The donations poured in, and that left a huge job to roll all the pennies. Dedicated volunteers spent hundreds of hours sorting through all the coins before they were shipped off to the bank. The EHS Fund Development Department continues to work with our donors to find meaningful ways for them to contribute, and we are so grateful for our many supporters who give in so many ways, whether they donate an item from our wish list or make a bequest in their will or give monthly to our Pause program. The much-anticipated EHS Friends for Life calendar reached a milestone this year with the release of the 20th edition. This beautiful 15-month calendar hits mailboxes in the fall and continues to be a major source of revenue for the shelter. The Friends for Life cash lottery was expanded this year. We held our popular spring lottery again with great success, but added a fall lottery for our supporters as well. The edition was very well received and, to our surprise and joy, completely sold out. Another great revenue generator for our animals. About 10,000 people and their pets took in our signature event, Pets in the Park, Edmonton's official pet festival, celebrating its 20th year. We all had so much fun and successfully raised over $137,000 for the care of our shelter animals. We are incredibly grateful to our hardworking participants, as well as our supporters, sponsors, exhibitors, vendors, volunteers, and all the demonstrators who also took part in the event. And speaking of fabulous events, the 5th annual Coventry Homes Paws and Claws Gala held in October was a massive success. It sold out quickly and raised well over $80,000. And we are proud of those who take initiative to coordinate their own fundraisers, coming up with creative ways to generate funds for our shelter animals. To everyone that supports our shelter, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts. You help us to save lives. Here are just a few of our many success stories in 2012. Valentina, or Tiny Tina as we have also called her, truly touched our hearts in January of 2012. The day this lovely feline came into our care barely alive is etched in many staff members' minds. This girl had been left in an apartment by mistake. Her previous owners thought with all the hustle and bustle of moving that she slipped out a window or the apartment door and wandered off. No sign of her inside even after several searches. Nobody ended up in the suite for about 3 weeks, and when the landlord finally re-entered, Tina was lying on her side, almost dead. It was touch and go in our shelter animal hospital for several days since there were fears that her organs might shut down.
She would fall over very easily, and she actually went into full seizures that afternoon.
But slowly, each day, Tina grew stronger and gained weight, especially in her foster home, along with her dedicated foster mother. Even at one point, gaining enough strength to jump up onto a chair, the start of her dramatic improvement. In total, Tina went from under 4 pounds when brought in to more than 7 at her last weigh-in with us. The day she was placed on the adoption floor was a bittersweet one for her foster mom.
It is bittersweet for sure, because I know that she's going on to the next phase of her life, and she will find a great home and live out her days very happy.
Valentina found her forever home a few weeks after being placed up for adoption by a woman who was gripped by her story and vowed to give this girl the extra love she deserves. Our story of Marco the Shih Tzu is just one true example of how our staff members go above and beyond for animals in need. This is how 4-year-old Marco looked when he first came to us in September. One thick mat of a body. Poor little guy could hardly move. It was extremely heart-wrenching to see him like this.
Just horrible. He was just completely covered in mats. You couldn't see his eyes, you couldn't see really anything that would describe him being a dog.
Our groomers wasted no time relieving him of this discomfort, shaving him, all his hair coming off in one big chunk. And also disturbing was finding his nails so long they were starting to grow into the pads of his feet. Once he was shaved, we could get a close look at his eyes, sticking out and clouded at only age 4. Marco was blind, and we have no idea how long he had been that way. For the best quality of life for Marco, his eyes needed to be removed, so our medical team performed that surgery and also neutered him. But more was needed to help Marco before he could be rehomed.
Good job.
Now that he had mobility and was quite active, Marco needed to learn how to maneuver. In his foster home, Marco learned how to climb stairs, remember how to get to his food and water dishes, how to play without seeing. Clearly, he was feeling much better. Marco's dedicated foster mom even found him a home while he was in her care. A family from British Columbia with another small dog. This one, 13 years old, with impaired vision. During a meet and greet session, the two quickly bonded, clearly meant to be together. Marco went off to his new family out in British Columbia to start his new life.
Nobody's given him a chance his entire life, so I wanted to give him a chance at starting over.
Also coming to us in September was Raven, a terrified 2-year-old terrier mix found as a stray near Red Deer. Folks with the rescue group For the Love of Dogs turned to us in hopes that we'd be able to help her, and boy, did we ever. Raven was so timid, so scared of everything when she first came in that many doubted that we'd ever be able to rehabilitate her. But one EHS behavior staff member in particular saw hope in her and devoted any time she could spare for Raven.
I was walking by her ward and she just was up at the front of the kennel, and I just got that feeling that this was one that I could help.
Her specialized behavior modification program included countless hours of leash walking with our behavior specialist and trained volunteers, crate training, hand feeding, Tellington touch, and socialization during shelter dog playgroups. It all paid off over several weeks. Raven found her forever family shortly after being cleared for adoption. Owners who were dedicated to continuing working with her and feeling privileged that they were the ones able to bring her home after her 3-month stay with us. Then there was Caden, a border collie pup abused so horribly before coming to us and who changed so dramatically for the better. His name really fit, Caden meaning fighter or warrior. Edmonton police were investigating his case, and officers brought Caden to us in August, and really, we didn't think he'd even make it one night since he was suffering so much. His back hips were crushed, and some of his teeth were loose or gone altogether from being beaten. He had BB gun pellets in his legs from being shot and injuries on his neck and head. Caden was clearly a broken puppy and couldn't even lift up his head.
It was pretty pathetic. He was so badly broken, and he really couldn't really move. We really did not hold a lot of hope for him.
We never gave up on this fighter, and he continued to respond to all the treatment we gave him over several months. Dr. Audrey Remedios, an orthopedic specialist from Calgary, volunteered her time and expenses to travel up to our shelter to perform a surgery on his hips. Our medical staff members did some dental surgery to help his damaged mouth. He had Tellington Touch several times in our shelter. And Dr. Jody Bennett of the Terwillegar Veterinary Clinic donated several sessions of physiotherapy. All this, plus countless necessary medications and tons of love for sweet, kind Caden. And through it all, his eyes always only showed trust in those who helped him, despite being the victim of unthinkable abuse at the hands of a human that he probably trusted at one point as well. Edmonton police charged 20-year-old Christopher Barwell under the criminal code, and he was scheduled to face a judge in 2013. He pleaded guilty and is still awaiting sentencing. His outcome was amazing. At the end of 2012, while still living with his foster family and still getting close to complete recovery day by day, Caden was often spotted enjoying life, running pain-free, so very happy to be alive, something we never thought we'd ever see in this adorable pup. And a success story only made possible by so many people coming together to save his life. Through partnership and innovation, the Edmonton Humane Society, a registered charity, is committed to helping homeless and abused companion animals, enlightening people, and enriching lives. The Edmonton Humane Society leads the community in elevating people's beliefs, attitudes, and behaviors to enhance the quality of life for companion animals.